Welcome, guys, back to the Social Work Race podcast. I hope it's been fruitful for you, the podcasts of past. It'd be good to know how they've helped you. Just message me on at thesocialworkrace@gmail.com. Let me know how it's been for you. Honestly, I enjoy doing these podcasts, but they can be a challenge because I'm always thinking like, what next? I have to sit down. Sometimes it takes me about half an hour to work out what topic next. But I've got a series of topics that I'm kind of nervous to do. I won't even go into the reasons why at this point, but there are topics that I am nervous to do. But they will be done now because I promised myself this year, January 30th, 31st, one of the two. I said one of my, what's the word I'm looking for? Resolutions, that's it, was to do things that I'm scared of. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to do more of the things that kind of make me think, do I want to do that? No, it's actually quite scary. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do some of those topics. Some of those topics, what I do have is I have a document that I've set up, and it's been there for about 1.5 years now, that I put all my ideas into and all the topics that I want to cover. And some of them sit there forever because they're difficult for me to do. I wish I was that guy that could just do whatever he wanted to do, but I'm not. Saying that, I'm here today and I'm going to talk about a really interesting topic. But before I do, please subscribe, please share this podcast with someone else. That would be really, really helpful. And again, thank you for listening. So today I'm doing a topic called the gut feeling. What do you do with the gut feeling in social work? So, you can be. You see, I've not worked in adult mental health social work. I've not worked with adults, only in placement. But I'm talking more about. Oh, there's going to be an accident up there. See, I'm in my car, I'm just watching. There's a thing that, forgive me for being distracted, but I'm doing these podcasts in my car in the morning before I get to work, or usually on a Sunday, either early morning or Sunday late night. That's when I get my podcasts in. I don't get to do them in a week. So the question is, what do you do with your gut feeling? Yeah, so I'm going to give you an example, okay? I'm doing this off the top of my head, right? An example is I've worked with so many families where there's been an allegation, for example, or report of something that's happened. And when you step to the family, the individual members, from the children, usually teenagers, because young children find it difficult to lie. That's just one of the realities, yeah? You know that they're covering something up. And it can be quite serious as well. It could be like, someone's punched me in the face, or someone's beat someone, for example. It can even be an allegation of rape, sexual assault, something like that. But you find that both parents and the child, and maybe those who were the accused, are covering it up. So they're colluding together to cover something up. Now, this does happen sometimes with young children. Although young children find it difficult to lie, that's just the way it is. They don't have that capacity to always tell the truth. But when it comes to the older ones who have learned to lie, who have been taught by their parents or peers how to lie, to cover things up. I mean, we're not really so much talking about disguise compliance now. We're talking about more the focus shifting from disguise to a blatant cover-up. And you're saying to yourself, something happened, because allegations don't often come out of thin air. What do you do with it? What do you do with that feeling of, I can sense something? And it's not only that, you can sense something, but remember, you're involved in that family. How do you document, maybe through assessment or through your case notes, how do you document that gut feeling? Because you can't say, I have a feeling that something's happened. Really, you should be going towards the This is the evidence. What are you seeing? You know? And this is one of the challenges I've found. I wish it would always get easier, but it's not necessarily easier to document suspicion. So if someone is, again, say the allegation was, my dad's been strangling me, mum just stands there and watches. What do you do with that information when you get there and they say, no, it never happened. It was an argument that's just gone too far. What you have to do is you have to ask questions and learn to dig into people's questions and answers. And you've got to do that whilst you're not destroying, as best as possible, the relationship that you have with that family whilst they're engaging. And that's really a difficult balance to achieve, because I've done it sometimes where you're asking a question on a question. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, actually, yesterday you said to me, the opposite. So what you do is you've got to really listen carefully to what they're saying, okay, and why they're saying it. I want to point you to something as well. I've done it before in a podcast before. Can't remember which one it was. About 3 or 4 back, where I listened to, because obviously a while ago I did a live session on my Instagram channel. Now, guys, just to let you know, I do Instagram live sessions with other social workers and other professionals, sometimes parents, on a range of topics that we explore, we experience in social work. And one of them, which was really one of my favorites, was the discussion around the Madeleine McCann case. And the reason why I did it, and that one took bravery. Why? Because, in my opinion, there was a degree of a cover-up, right, with that situation. Because with a normal family in that situation, what you would do is what the police would do, like, a child has died or gone missing. There are other children involved in that family, younger children. What would normally happen in any domestic abuse or any neglect, forget normally, what happens is there's a report or a referral from police or school, whoever's involved, and they would refer that to social services. Look, parents have left their child alone, child has gone missing, we don't know where the child is, there's another child involved. Would social services get involved, please? And we would do that. We're obliged to assess the family. That didn't happen with the Madeleine McCann case, yeah? Now, when I put this post out, every professional said this should have been a strategy discussion. We should have approached this case. Why did it not happen? Instead, they received support from the government, and the police did not make the referral. This gets interesting. Now, for a social worker, I'm going to move this on, because for a social worker, we look at that situation and say, if we get that referral, that is, if we were to get that referral, we would say, well, how would we know if it was neglect genuinely? We ask questions. And normally the police would have been involved to support us in our investigation, or we support them. It gets interesting because this video popped up on my feed on YouTube a long time ago. And it was a language analyst. His name's Peter Hyatt, all right? And he has a 99% record of determining whether someone is guilty. He works with the police in America. He determines when someone's guilty by what they say, by their testimony. So obviously people are interviewed, right? And he analyzed the language of the 2 parents involved in the of Madeleine McCann. And he said they are involved in her disappearance. How does he know? And I'm still going to go and research this even more. Study this even more, because he's got a range of videos teaching us how to analyze language. And instead of going on what we call a gut feeling, the gut feeling is only there to tell us that we have to dig deeper. That's all it does. It shouldn't be there to say they're guilty. It doesn't do that, right? What he says is, listen carefully to what people say because they are telling you the truth. Get this. I mean, this has helped me a lot. Okay? And even if you find out that they're misleading you, there's sometimes, and in some cases, you can't do anything about it. Okay? You just have to wait for maybe another day, another referral, because you can't go on a gut feeling. But he says, look, listen carefully to what people say because they're telling you the truth. So if you're interviewing someone and they're always referring to extracurricular activities around the actual issue that you're asking about, did you smack so-and-so around the face? And their answer is, for example, well, I was frustrated that week and what happened was I never hit her, but what happened was she got in my face or last week, we went on lots of trips and things were really good. And I don't know what she's saying. I don't know why she would say that because we have a really good relationship. So he's like, listen carefully to what they're saying because it's true. Now, what does he mean by that? What he's saying is, and I don't know, don't take what I'm saying to you as professional advice. It's not, we've got to go into this and more, but it's helped me. He's saying, listen to all of what they're saying. They're pointing you to what is important. It's not just about the avoidance of the question, but it's about the extra information. What they feel is important to look at. Because sometimes they look at that information as cover-up information. Look, I want to go into it with you some more. In fact, I will have to do another podcast on this. And so when he's listening to the testimonies of the parents, he's listening to them saying, the dad said, we were only a few feet away from the apartment. We could see the apartment from where we were. He's saying, well, they're right. From what he deems to be a few feet, but they could see the apartment. So, but what he is saying is that he's pointing to the dad is alluding to the distance. So we have to investigate then the distance, and the distance was actually about 50 feet, which is a long way to leave two very young children alone in a room, drugged up. Remember? They were drugged. You shouldn't be leaving those children away so you can go and party with your friends. You should not be doing that. And remember, there were other families with them that did it as well, who left their children in a room and nobody said anything. Now, the distance is something we have to look at because he pointed to the distance that the child was away, the apartment. And that's how you dig into what people say. Then he says, she was crying a little bit. And now this is something we can't prove, but this is where he goes. She was crying because she was unwell. So they medicated her to go to sleep. Okay? He's saying, well, listen, it's important because they mentioned it. People struggle to lie. So when they're telling you something that is of value at that time. So it's not about the blatant no. It's about the details around the no. Well, tell me what happened then. Do you get it? Tell me what happened. And the information they give you is the information that they're telling you that is a lie or alluding to the truth of the lie. The importance, the distance. She was medicated, I should say. I should use professional language, but I'm disturbed by the story. She was medicated by her parents who were GPs to go to sleep because she was unwell. And when they got back, she mentioned about the windows being open. And when the police got there was no evidence of the windows being tampered with at all. So why would you mention the windows? It's important because it alludes to their concoction of that end of the story of the windows being tampered with. The windows were not tampered with. No evidence of that whatsoever. Windows being locked. How did someone get in from the outside if the windows were locked on the inside? Parents are saying that the windows were open when they arrived. There was no evidence of that. So you have to understand that people actually tell you the truth because we struggle to lie. Humans are not wired to lie. So we have to fight and tussle with the truth to lie. And that's why if you're interviewed for long enough about a topic, you will eventually reveal the truth of a matter. So what he does is he analyzes their information. He doesn't need to go into all of the details. He just listens to what they say. And what they say indicates what they're lying about and the truth of the matter. He's a very good success rate, and it's a lot more technical than what I'm explaining. But the question was, what do we do with our gut feeling? The gut feeling that leads us to say, or it should lead us to say, ask more questions. That's what it should do. I enjoy doing that, but I also recognize that some families, when you do that, it creates more tension and frustration, and barriers can go up. And so the balancing act, as I mentioned earlier, is how do you do that? And it's simply, you take your time and do it. The other truth is that, again, families will lie to you and there's nothing you can do about it. They will collude and try to cover up, and there's nothing you can do about that. Sometimes you just have to wait for them to be re-referred. But you cannot write in there, I've got a gut feeling. You can explore and say, well, when I asked this question, this was the answer. When I asked this question, this was the answer. It didn't add up. Yeah. People lie because they are afraid of the consequences. They're afraid of, a lot of the time I get this one, losing their children. So, again, I would say, keep asking questions. Yeah, that helps. And the fact that I've said it so many times means that that's important. And again, if you analyze my language, I'm telling you the truth. I cannot get past, just like the police do. Keep asking questions, dig into that. What does that mean? Oh, okay. Maybe make them feel good about the questions they're answering. And eventually they'll tell you the truth. Have a good day, guys. Hope this helps. Visit my Patreon channel where you can get one-to-one support for your social work journey, your student journey, particularly ASYE, newly qualified, all of those. Just hit my Patreon channel, The Social Work Race. You probably don't know what I'm talking about. So what you can do is you can visit you can visit the link in the bio, or you can visit the link in the bio of my Instagram or TikTok accounts. Take care of yourselves again.